All right, welcome back, everyone, and welcome to Good Vibes. I'm Martin Falls, along with the vivacious Debbie Cox-DeNova. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks.
I know. It's been a minute.
You've been busy.
I've been busy.
All
yes,
right.
but I'm happy to be back.
All right, so this is going to be a good topic because how to care less about what they think. That's going to take some coping skills because really, doesn't everybody care about what people think?
We're hardwired that way, right? We are social creatures. And in reality, especially when you're young, you actually do need the approval of the people around you in order to even survive, right? So from a very young age, we are taught to sort of look to authority and edit ourselves accordingly so that we fit into a social group, right? And so in a lot of ways, this serves us, especially way back when, to be able to fit in, to be able to be a part of a society, a part of a community, a part of a family in a harmonious way. The problem comes when we are so interested in what people are saying about us that we lose sight of our own truth, our own authenticity, and we start railroading ourselves in order to meet the approval of other people. Okay, so it's about bringing that locus of control back within ourselves. What can we control? We can control how we show up and the relationship that we have with ourselves. We cannot control what other people think of us. And so if that primal sort of care about what people think about us is running rampant, what we can find ourselves doing is playing to the average. And it's been said, if you play the average, you're definitely going to live at least a mediocre life. The average person is obese, divorced, and has less than $1,000 in the bank. And yet we're making ourselves try to fit into this crowd. It's not always the best idea.
And they answer to the name of lucky.
Right. Exactly. So it's about kind of evaluating. What we're going to do today is sort of evaluate, because we're going to feel like caring what people think, of course, because we're human, unless we're, sociopaths or whatever. It's a normal thing. But we want to make sure that we are framing this up properly so that we understand that we can override this when it comes to our own authentic boundaries to protect ourselves. And a lot of this information comes from Stoic philosophy. Okay, so the Stoics have a term called eudaimonia, and it's about tranquility. And the Stoic Seneca said that it's about having the experience, a full sense of the path that you're on, while not being distracted by those whose paths crisscross your own, especially those who are hopelessly lost. And, Marcus Aurelius says, if someone is criticizing you, it's a really good idea to look into their soul and actually examine what kind of person is criticizing you and whether or not you want to play to the person who's criticizing. A lot of times we really just want to be popular or well known with people we don't even like, that we don't even know. Some people want to be famous after they're dead. They're playing to people that they'll never even meet in life. And so we don't examine this drive within ourselves to get approval enough. And so what happens is that we trade our joy, our authenticity, our happiness for the invisible approval of others when it is not in our best interest.
I find on Facebook that most people that throw out negative stuff, one word, jealous of whoever they're throwing it out at.
Yeah.
And then you have to decide, well, do you even respond? Even give them the dignity?
Yeah.
And most of the time you'll say, no, let me just go on with my life.
There's a saying, and I'm probably going to mess it up. It's when you're 18, you care a lot about what everybody thinks, right? When you're 40, you stop caring what other people think. And then when you're 60, you realize that no one was even thinking about you. The reality is we give a lot of weight to the opinions of others when most of the time it's just a fleeting passing kind of when something happens, let's just say you embarrass yourself publicly. It's talked about for a second, but then everybody really just returns to their own sort of world and caring about how they show up in the world. So we're giving it all of this weight when really the Stoics say that it's a really good idea to actually inoculate yourself to the opinions of others, because there are times in life where you will want to stand up within your own authentic self, and it won't be the popular thing to do. So being able to inoculate yourself all along the way, maybe perhaps looking silly in public just a little bit, just so that you can feel the discomfort of people looking at you, judging you, and realizing and proving to your nervous system that you're not going to die.
Man, I'm used to that.
Right, right. And so that's a powerful thing, because then when it comes to your own speaking your truth, standing up in your own values, even if the crowd is not in alignment with that, you're more comfortable to stand up and say it anyway, because the feeling of being disapproved of is not a feeling that is connected to death, which it is on a primal level. It is really connected to our survival. So it's not that you're wrong for feeling the way that you feel, but it's really important to understand, first of all, that the way that we're connected, everybody has a different version of Martin Falls, right? So I'm looking through my own paradigm, my own filter, my own experiences directly with you. I'm creating an impression of you based on my world. And the next person is creating a different one, and the next person is creating a different. And much of that is projection. So we've talked about projection before. I'm projecting a lot of my own relationship to myself into my filter with you. When you start to understand that this is a dynamic for all of us, you start recognizing that you, first of all, have no control over what people think about you. You can edit yourself all you want. You will not get the full approval of everyone.
Right.
And the people, to your point, who are busy criticizing are typically the ones who are self-judging. So they have a lot of self-judgment. So if you're out there going, well, I judge a lot of people, right? That's part of the problem. Because you judge yourself so harshly, you assume that other people are judging you harshly as well. But when you correct that relationship with yourself, you find that you stop caring as much what people think.
I always say when I see something on Facebook directed at me, and sometimes I chuckle and I go, boy, they really had the reach to make that one up. I'll say a prayer for them.
Exactly.
Because they're living in a tough world.
Yes. Yes. And when
But
we
that's
come back,
all they have to do all day long.
that's a really good example of inner authority, which we'll talk about after the break for
All
sure.
right, we'll take a short break. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Debbie Cox DeNova coming up. Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough. All right, we are back. How to care less about what they think. Debbie Cox DeNova is with us. Good vibe. So, when you're getting beat up on, if anybody who's done anything in this world will get beat up on Facebook, but sometimes you got to tell your friends, get out of the dungeon. Quit sending me this stuff. It's not part of my life.
Yeah.
I don't need to see it. Your friends enable you sometimes, don't they?
Oh, for sure. And it's because we're all hardwired the same way, right? So we're all looking at, and then we have that negativity bias. So it's like 1,000 people can be saying like, you're amazing. And that one person has a negative comment and your brain just tracks straight to that. We have talked about that. And so it's about leaving the validation casino. It's really about creating an internal, sort of an internal authority within yourself where what's most important to you is staying true versus playing to the crowd. And understanding, again, like we talked about before the break, that we're all projecting anyway. So if a person has a lot of shame, okay, this is kind of so if you see somebody and you know somebody, everybody can think of somebody right now who is very critical of other people. When someone is super critical of other people, what that typically means is they have a lot of shame. They hold a lot of shame. And shame is really the experience of feeling separate from other people, feeling like some part of yourself is not worthy of being connected to other people. And so projection would look like them looking out and identifying all the areas that other people are not worthy either, right? And so if you're a match for that, it's not about correcting their behavior or their criticism. It's about asking yourself and sitting with yourself on a regular basis in a mindful way to understand, what are my core values? And am I in alignment with those core values on a day-to-day basis? And making that the most important thing, because every single time you focus on what they're saying about you, you're training your brain to care more about what they say about you, right? And I think it was Joe Rogan who said that we have a certain amount of bandwidth in our brain. So let's just say that you have, 100%, bandwidth, and somebody criticizes you on Facebook, let's just say, and you're like, you know what? And you go back and forth with this person. And now you've spent maybe 30% 40% on this person, and you've got less to pour into your own creative endeavors, right? You've got less to dedicate to your own mission. So it really does zap you of all the joy, all of the creativity, all of the things that you could be dedicating towards your own path if you let it run away.
I get more upset about the people, my friends, that send me the messages. I'm going, yo, get a life.
Yeah.
Get off
yeah.
of Facebook.
Yeah, and that can be a really powerful request. It's like, well, I don't want to see that. I just don't want to see this, right? I don't have time for this or energy for this. And really, if you find the ones who really just do not care about what people say, you can see that it's not that they are dedicating energy to not caring. It's that their inner authority has them tracking on something that's more important to them. In other words, if I have a mission and I have a lot of self-respect for myself, if I've created the kind of reputation with myself where I can count on myself to stay in alignment with my core values, no matter what I say, do, and think, then the opinions of someone else, especially someone who, again, is hopelessly lost in their own lives, right? It just matters less. And that's why Marcus Aurelius says, take a look, peek straight into their soul and ask yourself if this is the type of person that you want to be dictating your life. Because someone who has the power to emotionally move you, they have the power to control you, right? So if you're thinking about the people on Facebook who are the most critical, what they call the trolls, right? They go into the comment feed and they're going to say something negative no matter what. If you peek behind the curtain and look into that person's soul, you may find that, whoa, I definitely do not want to be playing to this person's expectations of me in my life. They have absolutely no idea what my mission is, no idea what my core values are, right? And yet I am dedicating all this energy to caring about what they think about me instead of thinking, am I today in alignment with my actions in alignment with what I say I am in the world? And when you do that, you have self-respect, right? And Joan Didion says that when you have self-respect, it's like giving yourself back to yourself, right? Instead of letting all of this energy go to the unknown masses. Have your core group of people that you trust to give you the kind of feedback that would allow you to walk more upright. But everybody else, inoculate yourself, you know?
I give my friends the same thing. We're all high profile.
Yeah.
Got DAs, the parish president. When you hear something, go hide in a cave for 2 or 3 days. Somebody else will be getting hit in 3 days.
Yeah.
It moves, you know?
Absolutely. And then also examine too that sometimes we make assumptions that people are judging us when they actually aren't, right? And so that's the thing that happens again because we're hardwired for approval is that we kind of think, oh, they might not like me. And when they're actually giving you no signals whatsoever that they don't like you, it's a reflection again of your own self-judgment and shame. And so being able to examine those ideas and go, is this really true actually? Or is this a reflection of something I'm holding on to that everywhere I go, I'm projecting it onto this space. So it really is about improving your own reputation with yourself, your own self-concept, raising your respect, aligning your daily actions with your core values. But you have to know what those are. And then once you've identified what they are and you're walking accordingly, you stop caring about as much.
And
about
don't
what
help
think.
the story along.
Right.
They are waiting for you to comment.
Oh, yeah. Again, you're dedicating your precious energy to something that doesn't
And
really
you know
matter.
they're all sitting there, whoa, we got life here.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't pay them no attention, right?
Right. Nothing to defend, right? If it's not true, then there's nothing to defend. You can just raise up into, the things that you're actually interested in
Good
doing.
old Facebook.
Good old Facebook.
Somebody made a lot of money on it.
Oh, yeah. It's got a good and bad side to it, right?
All right, but Debbie, appreciated what, wait, that's the president right there. Yes, she is back. Well, that's my mom, y'all. Gotta talk to my mom, but we'll be back next week. Good vibes. Mom, I'm not on Facebook.